So, Hans, I believe you have a preamble topic for us.
Gentlemen, I have a preamble topic for us. So, last time we played, was it a sex position or was it a cocktail?
Yep.
So this time, because Yakuza is set in Japan, I have for us another we'll say it's a quiz. It's not really, it's just fun. It's not 13. Surprising Japanese translations of American movie titles. So I'm going to give you the Japanese translation and you have to guess what movie it is. Okay?
Alright. Yeah.
So just as a example, and you can see how wild these get. Mysterious Thief Gru's Moon Theft 3D is Despicable Me. Okay?
What? Say that again?
Mysterious Thief Gru's Moon Theft 3D.
Okay,
It's Despicable Me.
Yeah, okay.
We won't
Perfect
take turns.
sense.
We'll just go around all through and you can all take a guess, okay?
I don't think we need to take turns. I think we like pool our minds together here.
You might need to. Okay, so the first one. Busman.
Busman?
Busman.
What?
Busman.
What's that movie where the bus can't go like Speed, yeah.
You think it's Speed?
Yeah.
He's all set on Speed.
I'll be honest, I also thought it was Speed, because as soon as you said bus, I was like, Speed.
Yeah, that's the only movie I can think of that has a bus in it.
Okay. It is Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay, yeah, there's a bus in that, I guess.
Okay. Not what I would say is his defining quality, but sure.
The next one. 007 dies twice.
Obviously
Is this going to be like not a Bond movie?
Could you imagine?
Why am I blanking on every James Bond film?
Yeah, I can't. Like GoldenEye is a James Bond movie.
I
Isn't
don't
it?
think it's GoldenEye.
Is it Tomorrow Never Dies? Is that one of them?
That is one of them. Sure, go for that. Tomorrow Never Dies.
What is Tomorrow Never Dies?
No, you're wrong. It is You Only Live Twice. So 007 dies twice and you only live twice.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like that's probably going to be the easiest one out of this. Like,
Which is not a good omen that we didn't get it right.
yeah.
Wild Speed Max.
Speed.
Yeah, sure, that's Speed.
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Tokyo Drift.
Do you all agree with that?
It's probably Fast and Furious, yeah.
It is Fast and Furious.
Nice. We're on the board, guys.
And just as a wee bit of a tidbit, here are the rest of the Fast and Furious films. So, The Fast and the Furious, Wild Speed. Too Fast, Too Furious, Wild Speed times 2. The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. Wild Speed times 3, Tokyo Drift. Fast and Furious, Wild Speed Max. Fast 5, Wild Speed Mega Max.
Oh yeah, that's the film I want to watch.
Fast and Furious 6, Wild Speed Euro Mission. There you go. Nick will get this because I told him it. Malkovich's Hole.
You told me
Oh,
this.
yeah, you
but
told me this as well.
This makes you. That assumes you that I remember.
It's being John Malkovich, isn't it?
Yes, it is being John Malkovich. Best Kid.
Best Kid.
Is there a movie about like a smarty pants kid or something?
Is it about a kangaroo?
Oh. Oh.
I'm gonna say no, but best kid. Yes.
Who is the best kid?
Star Wars: The New Hope.
Karate Kid.
Oh.
Nah, I feel.
It's Karate Kid.
What? What?
Yeah. It's Karate
What is the
Kid.
Karate Kid best at? Karate.
It is. To be more specific, it was the remake with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan.
Oh, okay.
I actually didn't mind that movie.
I never watched it.
They
I haven't
remade
watched
the Karate
original.
Kid?
Yes,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, yes.
I mean, I didn't think you made that up.
Ferris, suddenly one more morning.
So it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right?
Yeah, that's the easy one. Okay, here's the penultimate one. Remy's Delicious Restaurant.
Oh, Ratatouille.
Yep, Ratatouille. And the last one, Grandpa Carl's Flying House.
That is a much better title. Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Not So Super Bash Bros presents Game Club for January 2021. Yes, Game Club is back, the monthly video podcast review thing, where we take turns picking games, go play them for the month, and come back and discuss them for your listening pleasure. This month, Alex picked Yakuza 0 from Ryagagotoku Studios. Nailed it. And as ever, I am your host, like a dragon, Nick Davis, joined by like a boss, Hans Davis.
What about you?
Like a rolling stone, Alex Proudfoot.
Hello.
And like a ninja, IY Chung.
Hey.
So, hi as ever.
I'm a
Good.
boss.
Same shit, different day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome to lockdown.
Fuck coronavirus.
Yeah. Do you think one day we'll ever do an in-person recording of Game Club?
Not this year.
That would be interesting.
I highly doubt it. Have we ever done a single one in person?
No.
No, so I
I
it
think
just sounds like way too much hassle.
for me, I think it would be cool.
For me, I'm not on the same landmass.
Yeah. I suppose that's kind of the big difference, is like IOI is no longer Northern Irish, so
I'm pretty sure his nationality
Yeah, that
hasn't
doesn't change that. I don't know if you know how.
I'm pretty sure his nationality is just British. So
Hey,
he was
we're allowed to
never-
choose.
Yeah, we can be whatever you want to be, Hans.
Yep.
I need to get that Irish passport at some point. You know, for all the fat use I'm going to get out of it.
Yeah, at the minute, yeah.
I was gonna say, at least you'll be using it anytime soon, so it can take as long as it fucking needs to. Yes, Yakuza 0, the third-person action adventure game. This release bit is a fucking nightmare, by the way. Alright, originally released in March 2013 in Japan on the PS3 and PS4, with an English release on the PS4 coming in January 2017, with later releases on the PC and Xbox.
Oh, not bad.
That's longer than probably the last three put together.
Yeah, probably.
So as ever, I've split this into three categories. Gameplay,
Ooh.
story and characters.
Ah.
Finally, where do you see yourself going with the Yakuza series after this?
Nani?
Okay.
There was a lot of nannies.
There was a lot of nannies.
in this game. There's a lot of exasperation in this game. But before we get into our first category, I have to pose the question. How far did everyone get in Yakuza 0? I, as of today, completed chapter 12, I think, with my clock in-game being about, I think, 28 to 30 hours. Hans.
I completed it.
Alex.
I also completed it.
And IY.
I got to like chapter 5.
Got that one, man.
But I played a lot of that game. Like,
Yeah, that is.
yeah, I actually did play a lot of it. Like, and people saw me play a lot of it. But that game
so-
is long.
just so obsessed with slot cars.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we'll get into that later.
We'll get into the mini games. We can get into that right now, IY, because we're talking about the gameplay.
Oh,
See that sick segue?
yeah, professional.
Nailed it. So, Yakuza 0, I would say you can kind of split the gameplay into kind of two bits. The open world, like running around side of things, and then the actual fighting action gameplay. And I do feel like both of these have kind of pros and cons, and I think we'll start with the action gameplay, because I think that's probably what a lot of people would, on the outset, probably associate Yakuza with, is like this kind of brawler, beat 'em up type style gameplay. And it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it, because personally I thought it was very hit and miss. I think there are some really cool parts to the beat 'em up stuff. Like, I think the animations are really cool when you like heat people and just half murder them. But on the other side of it, I think the fighting system just isn't generally that engaging, and they present you with a lot of options in the fighting system between the two characters, but they also don't really give you a massive need to engage with all the options.
All right,
Yeah,
no.
like
No. One, I know Yakuza for Baka Mita, right? None of this combat shit, right? And two, the combat's alright. It's pretty
like,
meh.
it's not to say it's not
pretty...
to say I think the combat is bad, but for it being like what I imagine a lot of people probably think of when they think of the gameplay of Yakuza, it's kind of not what you would expect. It's a lot more mediocre.
So, like, in terms of the fighting styles, it did feel like you were kind of pushed into one to stick with, because, like, I didn't do a lot of side stuff. I was just mainly focused on the story, because it was pretty long. So, like, I didn't have a lot of income, so I was, like, I focused on Beast and the, like, Bat styles on each character. So, like, I didn't feel I had the income to branch out with just the story.
Gotta play more pool.
Yeah.
Gotta
do more, like, retail investment.
Gotta manage that hostess club is what you gotta do.
I have to say, though, like, phrasing it as investing in yourself is, like, hilarious.
Yeah.
I do like that. But no, the combat is... It's pretty mashy, right? I think we can all agree that you can mash your way through it. And then
some of the boss fights later on, you can't.
Yeah,
you do get
that's
punished.
true.
But
That
I
is
also
true.
like there's one of the boss fights against Kuze in the sewers. Like you can, and a lot of the boss fights, probably for like the first half of the game, you can completely cheese with like the beast style or the brawler
Speed.
style. You can just keep them in a repetitive loop of knocking the boss down, and they can't do anything. Mm-hmm. It's only really later on, I think, that they start introducing the boss kind of can like combo break you and dodge out of your combos.
Or else they just don't stagger.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, I just feel like the combat was, I don't want to say it's a letdown, because I think that's probably painting it too harshly.
It is what I expected it to be, to be honest.
The problem is it's not what I expected, but I also didn't think it was bad. It just wasn't entertaining.
I think, like, definitely me, like, I came from playing Sleeping Dogs, and, like, I was going into this expecting Sleeping Dogs-esque style combat, but it's a lot meatier than that, I think. Like, in Sleeping Dogs, if you're skilled enough, you can kind of, you're just, like, you know, counters and stuff like that. And this, there isn't really, there's some counters, but they're not kind of on the same level as, like, almost like a Batman style, you know, melee system. But I think it's good. I don't know. I don't think good's maybe an overstatement. I think it's fine. I don't think it's offensively
You walked
bad.
back at that statement very quickly.
I don't think it's offensively bad. I wouldn't
it
even
works.
say it's mediocre. Like
Yeah.
I actually, there is something satisfying about it, and I think especially there is maybe some strategy to it. Like if I find myself in a small contained room with lots of items around, I'm like, oh, beast mode's gonna be perfect for this. And normally in that case, I could like the fight's over within a minute, you know.
Like
and,
I think, like yeah, as I said, like I think the heat actions are very well done, and I think they are incredibly satisfying. And I think the combat is also inadvertently hilarious at times when you just picture like, all right, in the middle of the street, I'm just gonna start wheeling this bike around me, and like just wheeling it around you with reckless abandon. And I think it like stuff like that works, but I just think like, say, I don't know, 70% of the time, you're just like, especially say like as Majima, like I invest a lot into the breaker style, and you can clear out a fight in like seconds without them doing anything. You just breakdance at them and they fall over.
which is also hilarious.
Hey, man, I'd fall over too if a guy was spinning like a Beyblade at me.
Yeah.
True. It is incredibly dangerous looking.
Speaking of falling over, just because someone is breakdancing, I kind of wish they introduced a system where out in the street, people would kind of be like, you know what? No, I'm not going to fuck with that guy. That's the guy that's literally beaten entire groups of Yakuza, and I'm just a relative street thug. Like, I find...
Although you throw money at them.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like we've gotten so like I think because I've been playing because obviously I played Dragon Quest not that long ago, and if you get to a certain level, enemies in that section will start to flee from you, and I kind of wanted that in this a bit because I know you can just run away, but I feel like in a game like Yakuza where like your like reputation and stuff is quite important, that would have been a nice touch. Plus, it means that you don't have to like fight every Tom, Dick, and Harry
But I suppose
steps
the
up
other
on
side
you.
of that is money is such a vital part to that game.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I thought about
Having
that
a
as
constant
well.
income of money. So, like, if you're trying to fight people and they're running away from you, it's probably making it a lot more difficult to fucking deal with.
But not necessarily have to run away from you, but just be like, I'm not going to step to that guy, but still have them be highlighted as a case of if you will step up to them, then you can fight. You know, like make it a choice. Like see again in Dragon Age, like the enemies do run away from you, but you can still run up to them and get them into a fight, force them to fight you.
But I guess like it kind of breaks the immersion, right? Because, like your character, at least from what I played of it, is not like
A thug.
it's not like the aggressive like I'm going to pick a fight. He is like self-defense, quote unquote.
Yeah.
By snapping
you never
people's
kills.
neck.
You never kill people.
Yeah. No matter what you do.
Completely
chapter.
maim them and smash their
No,
head
no,
against
no.
a brick wall.
We can spoil this for you, can't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with
So
spoilers.
there is literally one chapter where you shoot people.
But does
Yeah.
anyone die?
With rubber bullets, probably.
Oh yeah, like
I mean,
it's
they kind of have to the way it happens.
it's on rail. You know, like in Sleepy Dogs when
Right here in the car.
it's like on rails and you shoot people from the car.
Nick, this is
It's
the bit where you
that
said
section.
Nick
Oh,
walked in.
yeah,
And I was doing this
I walked in
section.
and Hans playing this bit and I said, this just looks like Time Crisis.
It's literally like
A helicopter explodes. There's no way they didn't die.
people die, but like after that they're like, "Kiri, that's a line you shouldn't cross." After you've literally gunned down dozens of people.
Come on. Self-defense.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is what I kind of love about the game, is just the disconnect between the story and the actual gameplay. Like
Yeah.
like the story, which we'll get into later, is like quite a deep drama. Let's call it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the gameplay, and Nick's pulling out a fucking fish that's a gun, and exploding rooms with it, right? It's like, what the fuck?
That bit was amazing. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Talk about cheese in a boss fight.
Yeah, we can probably talk about like the side stuff then. 'Cause that's,
This is kind of the other side of the gameplay is this open world. So you're in two different areas. You're in Kamarusha or Sotenbori. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Majima and Kiryu in different times. You kind of swap between them every 2 chapters, I think. And there's different sides to the open stories, open world. You can kind of like, you're running around, you can just, as we mentioned, like random people trying to pick fights with you. There's like sub stories to complete, which will involve different tasks, or there's just a whole variety of mini games to engage with.
Such as.
And Hans, I would like you to regale people with your tale of trying to learn how to play mahjong.
But right. So, what the fuck is mahjong? I think I tried it 3 times. So the first time I went in completely blind, I was like, I don't understand this. This is ridiculous. The second time I was like, right, I'll go back and I'm going to read the tutorial, right? And then the third time, I actually looked it up online of how to play it. And it was described as like, it's kind of like poker where you want to like have sets and match them up. And I was like, sweet. That third time, I got to the stage where in my mind, I should have won. I was like, I had at least a 3, if not 4 of a kind on every tile in my hand. And in my mind, I was supposed to be, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have everything like trioed off or whatever. I still fucking lost. So someone sit down and explain to me what the fuck is mahjong and how do I play it?
I'm going to tell you this, Hans, right? I too, not in Yakuza, but in Final Fantasy XIV, right? In the Gold Saucer, there is a mahjong section. And I went through the tutorials in that game and tried to play mahjong. And I and I still cannot tell you how to play mahjong, because that's what that's what I came to the conclusion as well. It's like, okay, it's like poker, you're making different hands.
Yeah.
But there's lots of like other additional rules.
Like stealing tiles from other people and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I genuinely believe now, right? Whenever I see like, and it's always on TV and films, it's always like old ladies something playing mahjong.
They're fucking lightning fast.
I now believe that they just make up the rules as they go along. Anyone playing mahjong is just going, Akai, and taking other people. And the other guy's just like, yeah, Akai, you got me. Pretending to know what they're doing.
It's street rules, Hans. You don't question street rules.
Actually, no one has a clue what they're doing. They're all just pretending to know, and no one wants to admit they don't have a fucking clue what's going on. So then I opened up a brothel,
which was so much easier.
So yeah, I feel like
so
this
much
is
more successful.
There are like two sides of it. I feel like there are like the traditional mini games, and this like there's mahjong, there's soji, there's like poker and things like that, and like they're fine if you know the rules of them. This is probably a fine way of playing those games. And then you have like the other side of the mini games where they're just so fucking absurd and ridiculous. And like the slot car racing is ridiculous. The telephone dates are fucking ridiculous. Running a real estate business, fucking running a hostess club,
Cat Fight Club.
Yeah, the fucking weird underground DDA, the Dead or Alive fucking beach volleyball fight club.
That was awkward as fuck. Just to clarify, so the Xbox One, which I played on, Xbox Series X, which I played on, is in the living room. And I was playing along, Nick was on his lunch break, and it got to that side quest. We're like, oh, go play it. I was like, okay. Got there, realised what it was. I was like, oh, fuck. So played it through once, with the curtains open, and my first thought was, if anyone looks in and sees two hairy bastards sitting watching the TV with this on it, they're going to call the police. It is so awkward. And the thing about that cat fight game is, it's
all luck.
It's complete
all
luck.
Well, what are you talking about, man? Like, you know what's more embarrassing? Watching Nick fail every single rock, paper, scissors in a row after winning.
He won the first one.
You won the first one, yeah. And that's
it's
suddenly
like one of the draws I won because I mashed better.
It's like, what are the odds you could like lose that every single one? 33.3%. You must know.
One of the odds of losing is 6 fucking rock, paper, scissors in a row.
And what's even better? He bet on like the highest stat person,
one of the better people.
the lowest stat person.
Look, not an ideal scenario, I will say. I was much better at slot car racing.
And Nick, I hope you enjoy having to put in more of that cat fight footage over this conversation.
Yeah, I'm really shocked. Oh, go on.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm really shocked because you mentioned the slot car racing. I'm really gutted that like there wasn't this element of like. Because we've all like played like Skeletrix or like one of those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
I'm really good. Like the trigger wasn't like a
like a power meter.
Yeah, right. Like I feel like that was like a really big missed opportunity.
Look, man, slot car racing is already perfect. You can't make it better.
True. So I think,
apart from the fact they're cheating bastards,
right, Hans.
I think though, like the animations or like. Or rather, like the character reactions in this game are just some of the best I have ever seen. Seeing like Kiryu lose a slot car race, and there's like the heartbreak in his eyes. Like,
was it you? No. Like I can't find like a comment that was like the most emotion Kiryu shows in this game is when he loses a slot car race.
Yeah.
There's those ones that are ridiculous, and like the fucking telephone one when you answer the phone correctly, where he whips the phone behind him and everything. But then there's those ones, and then there's ones that are just really well done, like the opening of the hostess club. Like that animation is really fantastic. Cool.
It's so suave, that animation. It's really nice. I do love the fact, like, you know about that telephone one that gets me is like the whole like, and then it's like very quietly, moshi moshi. Like, that's
it's the fact it's a quick time event to answer the phone.
I know. You only got 15 minutes or no 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 5, 3, or 1, I think.
But yeah, I would say I definitely. So I'm someone who like does not enjoy open world games anymore. Stuff like like your Fallouts and things.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is not as bad because you don't have this giant quest log. But I felt, and so I said to myself, like, if we ever play games like that, I would only ever do the main story. Stuff like Mass Effect and stuff. Like I said to myself, I'm just gonna do the main story. But I don't know what it is about Yakuza. But maybe it's because like the quests are so short and it's just in the moment. But whenever you pick up a new quest, I'm just like, I'm just gonna bash this out.
Yeah.
And then just like the fucking situations the characters get themselves in. You know, like pretending to be this little girl's boyfriend. But like it's all like it's like really like all the stories are kind of like they hinted at being like kind of creepy at the start, but then there's this whole big like
except for that one where it was actually creepy.
Which one?
The one where he buys the porno mag for the kid.
Yeah, that was fucking weird.
No, what was the line at the very end? It's like the things men have to do.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
Hey, that's completely fine. Like, kid's gonna get introduced, and he gives him advice. He says, "Right, don't hide it under your bed. It doesn't work." He helps him. He helps him become a man.
Yeah, like to be like, there is this whole like coming of age thing on like every one of these quests. It's actually crazy. So it is like his interactions.
But it's weird as well because like the game, like a lot of them don't really pay back in. Like, you know, there's no payoff to them. Like in terms of like feeding back into the main game. But I think the payoff is just how enjoyable they are. Like it's a really good direction to go with side quests. Like either one, make them be something that rewards you pretty well, like back in the main game. Like fuck, I can't remember what it was. There was a game I always refer to whenever it's, but it's either that or else make them so crazy and enjoyable and fun. Like the new Assassin's Creed did that recently, where all the side quests and stuff, they're very short, take 5 minutes, but they're quite funny and interesting. Yeah,
but like you say that, like but I disagree. Where like they actually do eventually play the side quest back, and you get advantages off them. When like here you open, well, I think for Kiri anyway, when you open like the actual real estate business that you can engage with, like a lot of the people who you do side quests for and complete their full chains, like come back and like they are people you can use as part of your real estate business.
like masochist man.
Yeah,
You can
like
also hire some of the girls as hostesses.
Yeah,
the other
for
one.
Majima stuff. Yeah.
It's like it's not like I wouldn't say they're like
Oh, no,
just
I'm not saying they're like
in the
but
moment stuff. Like they, it's the fact that there is payoffs to them, and they're also just really enjoyable to do.
But like I would say, like even if they're like those people didn't come back as consultants and stuff,
Yeah.
I still would enjoy the doing them. Like rather than just here's some money, do you know, to put back into yourself. I would even if they didn't pay off that way, and they were just really crazy and funny, I would still prefer that.
Man, can we just talk about the Hostess Club as well? I think that might be the best minigame in the whole thing. I know
What
Stalker
is
Racing
it
is really
about
funny, but in terms of an actual minigame that you actually have to do stuff in,
Yeah,
the Hostess Club is fucking incredible.
Why is that so enjoyable? Like why?
I have no
why?
idea.
It's like a little bit like RPG.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of strategy.
And like you just feel like this fucking like insane person, like, oh, these people are giving me all these fucking signals, and I know what they mean because I'm a genius.
and then whenever it becomes and then party time, you're like, fuck yeah, party time.
It's the fucking image that pops up with party time of just Majima with this giant bottle of fucking champagne, and then the
then
manager
people
guy
just-
in the background going, yeah!
And they're just then people just start chucking money at
Just
you, like
fucking
fuck
money
yeah.
starts flying everywhere.
And then it is, and then like I don't know if you've got into it. Then the min maxing of like your platinum girls.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're going to be the sexy and cute one, and you're going to be the smart and funny one, and then you're going to be like you get so into it, and you really shouldn't.
It's like Pokemon, but for hot women.
Because it's kind of pervy.
I'm so disappointed. Majima is like, I was really disappointed he did not have like a host style for his combat, like because you sort of see it at the start of the game whenever you're introduced to him, right? And I was like, oh shit, is he gonna be like all
counter.
defense all the
Yeah.
time or something? But like, yeah, no, he just snaps people's necks too. So it's like,
Snaps people's
doesn't
necks,
kill them.
breakdances on them, and then fucking smashes their faces with the baseball bat.
The breakdances on the grave.
So, any final gameplay thoughts before we move on?
The movement can be pretty janky.
Define movements like walking or.
Walking and running places.
I would call
Oh,
it.
I played it on
janky,
the console. Sometimes it felt pretty janky. Like I would get stuck behind random objects.
oh yeah, that happens. That's
I would say like all right, the hitboxes.
Not
like
that, I'm
there's-
not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it
Yeah.
could be janky.
Nah, man, you
I-
just sprint through everyone right down the middle of the street.
One thing
Get them the fuck out of your way, and if they try to pick a fight, you throw bundles of cash into the air.
The one thing I loved was the fight choreography was unbelievable. It's kind of over the top, but like in the quick time events and also in kind of like the way some of like the dungeons, I suppose you maybe call them, play out. I just fucking love them.
Can we actually talk about like the couple of chapters where like it's like, all right, you're gonna fight through this entire headquarters.
Fucking amazing.
Are so fucking well done. The way they string the fights together are just so smart, and just like how ridiculous they get of like
the transitions.
The first one is the first one's the best with
the same guy popping up like 4 times and
then jumping into the bathroom.
What the fuck are you doing?
And then jumping into the bathroom. Like, and
then you drop kick him out the bathroom window.
Like, it is like
so good.
But again, even like the quick time events, like there's one with Majima when you fight a guy with one of the knives, and he throws the knife into the air, and then you spin kick the knife into his shin. Yeah. That is so fucking cool.
Well, also it's the fight bit where you're fighting out of the Tocho clan headquarters with the Tachibana and Oda. And like one of the heat actions is just to throw someone into a water feature, like overhead gorilla press them into the fucking water feature. It is so ridiculous.
I do love that fight, the start of that fight where you're just in a hall with like 30 guys. I love the heat action for when you're in like crowds, when you're in beast mode.
When you grab the guy, like swing the guy around you
by his tie and just swing him like as a win. Like I think the fight choreography is equal parts hilarious, brutal, and just really, really satisfying. And like say, just the transitions and stuff in those dungeon bits are great. Like between the brothel, the headquarters, just every single bit is just really enjoyable.
So the story and characters, and I feel like this is probably where a lot of people have heard such positive buzz around Yakuza, and I can honestly say I think it lives up to every little bit of the hype, and it's really kind of incredible how well they manage and how perfectly they nail like 2 very different sides of the coin, where you have like this pure, like very serious, very dramatic gangster crime thriller, and like that side of the coin, and then on the other hand, just we kind of mentioned bits of it, like how well they nail like the ridiculous tone of some of the side stories and some of the secondary characters you meet. And like part of that is like when characters are engaging with these ridiculous people, you have Majima who's kind of like, all right, what the fuck is going on? And then Kiryu who's just completely deadpan the entire time. And I honestly think it is some of the like funniest writing I've seen in a video game. And like it's just how well it contrasts with like the serious crime side of things. Just like cherry on the cake is just completely incredible.
I promised myself that I was going to not talk that much during the segment because I would just spooge over everything.
So, let's talk about the serious side of things first, because I think a lot of people know Yakuza for how a lot of the stuff that gets spread around online and stuff is like the ridiculous things.
Oh, it's a gif maker, it's a meme maker.
Yeah. So like when the serious side of things happen, like you have like the main story, which is the serious crime drama of Kiryu gets framed for murder. He needs to clear his name. He gets kicked out of the Yakuza, and like this whole like the whole run up of his life has been like wanting to emulate Kazuma and being this person that he thinks he should be, and like that side of things, so fucking well done. Like, was not expecting how good a story it would tell.
Yeah, how intricate it is as well. Like, there's so many twists and turns, but they're never cheap. Like, they make complete sense. You know, like it's not like the Shiki was the bad guy all along. You're like, but that makes no sense because it flies. Like every kind of twist and turn and surprise is laid out fantastically. Like when they use Tachiban as a red herring for the guy with the bat tattoo. Yeah, and it's so nonchalantly done. Like, you know, it's not like dun 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 dun. Like he's just lying on the bed and you see the bat tattoo, and it just so happened the chapter earlier, Makoto, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mentioned that's who she's looking for, and it's so like. You literally make that sting noise yourself in your head because you're like, oh fuck.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Because that's about up to that point.
When these meet, it's going to be explosive because you're like, that's going to be a big plot point, and then it shifts.
And then you're on top of that as well. The entire time up to that, you're like, you've always thought Tachibana, like, he's a good guy. Like, you kind of get, he does have that ominous side to him, but he does seem to be a really decent guy. And then you're like, maybe that ominous side is a bit more to it than I originally thought.
I also like for Kiryu, like, how extreme the lieutenants got in dealing with him. Like, the first lieutenant was like one-on-one. And then the second one was mind games, and then the third one was just full on.
The second one just shot a girl right in front of him for like like just like fuck it, like, you know, like I really like, they are such bastards. They do such a good job of making them such unlikable pricks. You're so happy to see their comeuppance, and the funniest bit about that is, see, by the end of it, Kuze, who I really hate at the start, you start to turn around on him a wee bit at the end because he starts to respect Kiryu. Yeah. And you're like, maybe Kuze is more kind of a rival than an actual bad guy.
He also comes at you in a sewer on a fucking motorcycle wielding a pipe.
And doesn't kill you.
Yeah. It's fucking incredible.
The writing in this game, the characters, it's all so fucking amazing.
The build of it as well is so well done.
Yeah,
it is like they do a really, really good job of like this slow ramping of all the stakes and the odds and the tension, but having the right moments to like kind of release a bit of it, of like, yeah, okay, like Kiryu gets a bit of revenge, but then like it's one step forward in terms of his journey and then two steps back because it just puts him in more shit. Yeah, it's just so masterfully done this entire time. Like you see like knowing where Majima ends up in like the rest of the series as like the mad dog, and like just like you do see like the undertones of that coming through in like his entire character, like the charade he's almost putting on being the manager of the Grand, and then like when it's suddenly when no one's watching him, like how kind of intense and sick he can be, but then also like the kinder side of him where like, yeah, I was hired to kill this blind girl, but like I can't do that because that just seems unfair.
I kept saying to Nick, right, when's he go crazy? And like I was like, I got like chapter like 16, and I was like, you better fucking go crazy because there's only one more chapter left, and if he doesn't go crazy, I want that fucking payoff. I want it now. And that bit where like he's getting beat down in the streets by like just three random goons, and then later on he comes back and beats the absolute shit out of them. I was just like, yes.
He also has like such a sad story.
Yeah, he does.
Like, the whole build-up, and he's, like, helping the girl, protecting her, and she never sees his face. Yeah. It's so sad.
It is.
Like, that moment at the end, where they run into each other, and she doesn't know who he is.
Yeah. And the thing is, that bit made me actually think, because I was kind of like, surely she should know, but then you have to go back and actually remember, oh yeah, she only knows his silhouette. She never actually got, because she only partially got her sight back.
Yeah.
And he never actually speaks in front of her during that scene, because he takes her future husband or whatever away to the side to speak to him. Yeah, that is a heartbreak. Because like you feel for Makoto as well through the entire thing, because by the end she has nothing left. Like her mother's dead, her brother's dead. Her sight has come back. That's the only good thing that happens. But everyone she has known and loved has died by the end of it.
And her, like, mysterious protector has disappeared.
Yeah, say Majima, like, she doesn't know what's happened to him. Like, it is.
The guy who took her in and rescued her died in a massive explosion.
Yeah, Lee's dead. Like, yeah, you really, your heart breaks for that character. And, like, it's one of those things, like, by the end, you're kind of glad she is happy, but you're also, like, kind of like, why can't you be happy with Majima? No, the writing. I could do an entire video on this
that's
writing.
one side of the writing, and then I also want to bring up like just the ridiculous, like as I kind of mentioned, just how ridiculous like some of the writing and the side stories they tell, and just like the ridiculous characters they have, like brought like Mr. Libido.
He is my spirit animal. All right?
He's just like, it's just.
What was the thing he said that you wanted to quote?
It's like shaking the ham cucumber, slapping the ham cucumber or something like that.
Oh, so gross.
Like slapping the salmon.
Slapping the
salmon, and then he says something about a ham and a cucumber.
Shaking the ham cucumber.
It's Great character, disgusting human being.
I like to believe that's what people say about me whenever they do.
Like, it's fun, like, as you mentioned there as well, like, there is endearing sides as well to a lot of these side stories. Like, they all begin with, like, this ridiculous premise, like, the fucking Yankee band who are like, we're just trying, like, we just like being the symbol of, like, disenfranchised youths, and, like, that's, like, but we're not really good at it, can you help us? And, like, there's little lines in that and little lines in, like, every character story that is just like, yeah, this is like really well fucking told.
The
like,
dominatrix that you have to teach to be a dominatrix.
That is one of the best, just because it is like one of the few times that like Kiri like really breaks. It's just like, I just need to walk away right now. What am I doing here?
It's every time, like every time you give her like a new instruction, he goes back and just says, "What the fuck am I doing with my life?"
My favorite one was, and the writing is so well done for it. It's the kid who gets the video game.
Oh, yeah. It's just every person you're up to,
and every time you catch
video.
up, it gets stolen. And it's like 4 times, and then you catch the final guy, and it's the little kid's dad.
Because he really wanted this. It's like, oh, my kid really wanted this game, and I couldn't fucking get it. It's like, wow, this really all came full circle, didn't it?
That was such a clever bit of writing.
Yeah,
to be
the
fair.
writing
like,
for that
that's
was
really
so well
clever.
done.
But guys, Mr. Libido.
I am curious how his sub story ends.
Probably with him masturbating in the streets and getting arrested.
Because obviously a lot, like we said, a lot of the sub stories kind of end with some sort of like heartfelt thing. How the fuck can you make Mr. Libido heartfelt?
Maybe he finally gets laid or something.
He hands you
The dream.
He hands you his clothes.
Walks off into the
Could you imagine if one of like your accessories was Mr. Libido's underwear?
Maybe he slaps your salmon. Right, sorry, I forgot to bring this up during, just speaking of Mr. Libido. Right, can we bring up the fact that there is literally just softcore porn in this game?
Yeah.
Like videos of softcore pornography that you can just watch in the game. And it's implied that Majima and Kiryu are just jacking it while you're watching.
I believe it is called a gravure. Because I'm a connoisseur in these sort of things.
It's just very weird. Because I thought there would be like some sort of like side objective to it, or like some
payoff.
payoff.
A payoff, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but no, it's
gratification
just
from it.
softcore pornography.
There was definitely a payoff for the character.
Yeah, it's also how you get introduced to Mr. Libido as well.
And that also, to buy the place for the real estate side quest, you have to befriend the guy in it. So
yeah. I don't think I want to be friends with him, to be honest. He's probably seen a lot.
I mean, he just works there. Like, it's not he's producing them. He's just the guy at the counter.
True.
Poor bastard probably has to wipe the booths down afterwards. You're like you say. I do think that's their job, is that they clean the booths afterwards.
Also, Pocket Circuit Fighter, best character. He's just so sad right now in my game, and I can't make him happy because I can't win the fucking race.
It's because they're fixed.
Yeah.
I believe that they're fixed because one of the times that I was playing the game, my controller disconnected in the tapping B bit, so I could actually tap B. I was not happy about that. Not happy about that at all.
Oh, that was really ridiculous. Man, writing this game is so good, and all the characters are so good.
I would be, because there's so many of these games, right?
Yeah.
So I would be curious to see. Well, I am seeing it by watching Punchy play the other game, but yeah, I'm just curious to see like how those other games turn out with the writing.
I'm also curious, so because like I did a wee bit of digging into like the Yakuza series, and like Yakuza Like a Dragon is kind of now where the Yakuza series is going. Like, it's that RPG element, but they've released a kind of a spin-off, which is closer to the original formula with like the beat-em-up brawler style. What was it called, Nick? Do you remember? Judgment. I'm really curious to see kind of how that plays out. So like, I fans of Yakuza might have been a bit miffed about that, because like you imagine like Lord of the Rings, they got to like doing the Lord of the Rings thing, and I don't know. They're like, Frodo's going to become a breakdancer, but we got this new character, Proto, and he's going to continue the journey instead. So I'm curious about that. So I think Yakuza Like a Dragon looks really fun, but Judgment being set in the kind of the same universe as Yakuza, but being a bit more dark and gritty sounds quite interesting.
Is Like a Dragon not set like years after 6?
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's the same like place.
As far as I'm aware, with Like a Dragon is you do not need any prior knowledge of Yakuza to get into it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like that's kind of the whole, like, when Zero became like such a massive hit, like very unexpectedly, I think they kind of were trying to figure out how to best proceed with that. Like, because obviously it went Yakuza 0, and then they re-released 1 and 2, and then they did 6. So like that's kind of a big jump for people who went from like, oh, I really like 0, and then we're like, all right, the next new one is 6. The fuck's been going on for like 5 games? So I think that's kind of why they wanted to almost start afresh, because they've got this whole new audience that like is wanting to experience the game.
I think as well, like with them re-release it, with them doing Kiwami 1 and 2, and then the HD re-releases of 3, 4, 5. It'd be interesting to see if maybe they will continue doing kind of Kiwamis for 3, 4, or at least for like the older generations. Maybe not necessarily 5 or 6. But no, I think like I'm very which leads on to the next point.
Yeah, I feel like we're leading on to the next category, but I feel like, is there any final bits people want to bring up around the story and the characters?
Love it, all of it.
You're really well done.
I have one slight critique. Because I think
not enough Mr. Libido, you're right.
I feel like Majima's final boss is a bit weird. Because his final boss is like the assassin and then one of the lieutenants. That kind of seemed forced. Whereas it would have been cooler if, is it Sagawa?
Yeah.
He would have made a lot more sense to be kind of Majima's final boss, I think.
I suppose... we don't know what happens going for. Like, I don't know the story of like 1 onwards.
Yeah.
So like he could be like a big part of Majima's stuff.
Like,
so he couldn't be a boss.
No, because they say at the end of the trailer, in the Sagawa stuff. Do you mean Sagawa or do you mean the lieutenant he fights?
Like the head of the family I'm talking about.
Oh, the bald guy? All right, no, I don't know what happens there, but I know, like, Sagawa is obviously, he dies at the end.
Yeah, sorry, I got mixed up.
The lieutenant he fights dies from those gunshots as well. It's just like, I get the assassin thing because he shot Makoto, so that kind of like aligns him up for a final fight, but like, the assassin also framed Kiryu. You know, and I feel like he needed justice for that. I don't know, it seemed like... I feel like there would have been a better choice just for Majima's final boss. But, like, I'm nitpicking at this point. Like, it is really nitpicking. It feels like they just forced him into Kiryu's story rather than give him his own finale.
So, our final section is... I want to pose a question to people of... So where do you see yourself going with the Yakuza series after this? 0 was, for, I'd say, a lot of Yakuza's modern day audience, like a jumping on point for the series. Just, it's where a lot of people got into the series, and where I feel like I definitely heard a lot more people and a lot more widespread critical acclaim of the series and people getting into the series. So I'm interested to see where, if you do see yourself continue on, like, with playing more of the series, where do you see yourself going? Do you see yourself going to Kiwami? Because personally for me, it's a completely personal thing that I will probably go play Like a Dragon next, because it's not a slight against the game. I struggled at times to play games where there is complete lack of like English voice acting and it's a lot of reading, because I have the attention span of a goldfish. So knowing that Like a Dragon has a very well received English dub, it's probably where I'll continue the series, and if I do feel like it later on, I'll probably go back and play things like Kiwami and Kiwami 2. So I'm interested to kind of see where you guys think you might end up going next in terms of the series.
I'm going to play Kiwami next. I don't want to go to the review too much, right now.
Yeah,
But like, I've quite enjoyed this. I've always had like a vague notion of Yakuza, and that was a bit crazy. So I plan to play Kiwami next, and then maybe take a big break. Not a big break, but take a break and then play Kiwami 2. My fear is whether or not I will go and play the HD remastered of 3, 4, and 5. Because although they're remastered, they're still going to have... From discussions, Nick, we've said kind of 0 is kind of when they really nail their pacing and kind of the format that they're kind of using now. I would be worried of going back to the old ones and kind of seeing... Although I imagine the combat and stuff will be very similar. But like, I imagine kind of going back to that and kind of how the story and stuff would pan out would probably be a bit tough.
Yeah.
I feel like going back and playing older games is always a lot more difficult than you really think. Even like rose-tinted glasses for ones that you've played before.
Alex is the other person who's finished it. What are you thinking?
I will go and play Kiwami 1 and 2. I'll probably play the HD collection as well, because like, it set up their stories so well. I kind of want to see them to the end, because like, I know things get like, there's time skips further in, so like, I'm kind of curious what happens next, and then I'm sure from that I'll be curious as to what happens next again. So like,
yeah,
I want to see what happens with the story and where it goes, because like, since this is technically a prologue to the first game, like, it's such a good starting point,
Yeah.
and it did get me invested in the story. So,
And Kiryu is such a likable character. There's something
Yeah.
about him. Like he is clearly a dumb as shit bastard. But like, do you know what I mean? Like he really
Yeah.
doesn't understand like the danger he's in. But you really do you just kind of look at him. You're like, I really want you to be happy.
I get Goku vibes from him.
Yes, but less cheerful.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, loyal to a fault, likes to fight.
We'll endanger the universe for a good fight.
We'll make ridiculous bets on the universe. Oh, why do you just continue watching other people play them?
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Like, those games are thick with 2 C's.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
You seen them hostesses?
and like the actual like game part of it, like, will get quite repetitive, I think. But like, yeah.
But man, we know for a fact that Kiwami has slot cars.
Oh, does it?
Yes, because
Yes,
one of the
it does.
Steam screenshots is Kiryu in the slot car pose.
Oh, yeah. Because I know watching Bungie play Like a Dragon, and how there's actual go-karting instead.
Yep.
Which is
Do you
not
also
very good.
fly off the tracks in that?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm really glad I played it, but like, I don't think I'll be playing all those games and getting into that.
So any final thoughts then before we wrap it up?
There's one thing we didn't
I'm
discuss.
looking
on-
around as if you're in the room for some reason.
There's one thing I believe 3 of us kind of agreed on that we didn't discuss in gameplay. Fuck the escort missions.
Oh yeah.
Fuck the stealth bits as well, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck all that shit. That it just goes to show that escort missions are still shit.
Yeah. No matter what game you put them in.
It's just got to be shit.
So overall, I really, really fucking like Yakuza 0. I could not put any major faults against it. I really enjoyed like the near 30 hours I've put into it, and I do plan on finishing it before I start the next Game Club game. Like, I would easily put it up there probably as one of the best games we have played on Game Club. I've just enjoyed it from top to bottom, and I can like completely understand now why this is like the Yakuza game that springboarded it into like mainstream popularity. Like, it's just, they nail everything they kind of set out to do, and it's just near perfection from top to bottom. Hans.
There was one game before this that I never would have played, but then I had the 2 for Game Club, and I've become a fan for life, and that is Hitman. And this is the second game. I probably never would have played Yakuza if not for Game Club, but playing it has made me a fan of the entire series. So it is fantastic. The action's fantastic. The writing is fantastic. As someone, like I said, like, and the thing is, like, because I wasn't a fan, I can generally say I could recommend to someone who's not a fan or wasn't a fan. I'd recommend to someone who wasn't a fan to come and play this, because it would probably change their mind. This is a fantastic game, and yeah, possibly one of, if not the best game we've played on Game Club.
Alex.
I'm just so happy people like the game I picked.
He's getting all fluttery.
Yeah, I'm basically in the same boat. Like, the only thing I'd seen of Yakuza was some of the memes, and just decided, you know, it looked interesting, might as well play it, and by God, it's a great game. It's a hell of an introduction to the series as well. Would recommend it.
Come for Baka Mita, stay for the drama. Pretty good.
I never really mentioned karaoke. It's fucking top notch as well.
Actually, no, karaoke's bad. Like,
fuck you, it's great.
No, as a gameplay thing, it is horrid. Like, the stupid tambourine noises is bad.
It's not even that.
Like
it's the
going,
fact.
yeah.
It's the fact that, like, you're so busy concentrating on the button prompts, you can't see what's going on in the background, because what's going on in the background is fucking dope.
It is.
I think I mentioned it like while I was streaming it for like I budget one day. But imagine if you were actually doing karaoke and
Some guy.
dickhead every so often was like, yeah. You're like, dude, shut the fuck up.
If you were singing Sweet Caroline, you wouldn't mind that.
Someone whipped out a tambourine.
It's
Sir, you are too excited about this. Please sit down.
so I think it's even worse in Like a Dragon, from what I've seen, because you have party members in that game. They kind of have their own songs, like, so there's like more of a ratio to you being in the background and than actually singing. So yeah, it's horrible, but like the actual quality like of the video and like the songs is like really good. It's just that your character is just a douchebag.
He just wants to make the whole song about him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I continue your review.
That's like, it's really amazing, the game. And I think, as you said, like, thinking that Yakuza was all about like memes is like completely wrong, since like there is this amazing story to it that was just such a nice surprise. You know, like, not as much a surprise as Alex picking a good game, but still a surprise nonetheless.
I know, right?
Right? Yeah.
So overall, absolutely glowing praise for Yakuza 0. Well done, Alex.
Thank you. I developed it myself.
But before we wrap it up for January, Hans, what will we be playing for Game Club in February?
Gentlemen, over the Christmas break, the Game Awards happened. Our Christmas break, the Game Awards happened. And there was one award that pissed me off. And I maybe remember that Nick said he'd maybe like to revisit this game. So we are going to delve in to No Man's Sky.
Oh, what the hell?
And we are going to see whether the hell or not they've been able to swing it back around. I'm not looking forward to it, because I'd still my biggest buyer's remorse to date. But I've
Please,
said
Hans,
it now. I
you
can't
bought
take it back.
Cyberpunk.
I completed Cyberpunk. Still a pain in the ass, but I completed it.
Am I misremembering, or is No Man's Sky on Game Pass?
It is on Game
Yeah,
Pass.
I thought it was on Game Pass.
It is. It's definitely on the PC Game Pass.
Yeah, it's definitely on PC. I don't know. I'm assuming it's on the Xbox one.
You
No,
can play it multiplayer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they introduced that after launch, yes, because that was a big thing.
Yeah.
I did play this at launch, and then so for me, I can actually make a direct comparison from what I remember to what it is now. So that for me is going to be the interesting bit. For you guys, I don't know if any of you's played it before.
I have like tried to get into it a couple of times and never really just stuck with it, to be honest.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see, like, because they won the award for continuous support.
Best ongoing game, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, support for a game. So I am curious to see if they deserved it or not.
Wait.
Fair.
Sorry. So I just went onto the Xbox or the Microsoft Store. It is on Game Pass. But I just scrolled down to like the reviews, and the second review is wow, 3 exclamation marks. This game could just be the last game I ever play. It is truly an amazing experience. I just found out about this game while browsing the Xbox store and could not believe I hadn't heard of it before. Brackets, granted, I don't do the internet much. I usually don't like games that blah, 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 blah. But either way, yeah. Last game that I'm ever going to play.
Was that guy paid to make that?
39 out of 46 people find this review helpful.
Nice. That's probably the most people I've seen commenting on a review on the Xbox store.
It is on console.
Oh, does it have crossplay? We can all play it together on Game Pass.
Xbox Live cross-platform multiplayer.
Yes! Here we go. It's got ray tracing. I know that too. Oh, yes. Putting that RTX to good use.
So Hans could technically take the title for me for worst game club game.
Yeah, that's possible.
No, Icy will always be the worst. You could literally shovel dog shit into my mouth, and I'd still prefer that over Icy.
Fair.
Game club, come in a bar, shoveling dog shit in the next fight.
Could actually be kind of funny.
There's your first bro job episode, Nick.
So join us at the end of February, where we will be back to talk about No Man's Sky. But for now, it is a goodbye. Fuck, what order did this? Goodbye from IY.
No,
Why does IY ever start? He's always last.
Because I say goodbye last, so I thought I might work backwards.
No.
Goodbye from Hans.
Have a good one.
Goodbye from Alex.
See you later.
Goodbye from IY.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from me, Baka Mita.